Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the NFT Art Talk. Join us live daily, Monday through Friday, for a new way to experience the NFT art scene. We'll be talking about what we are doing, the art, and the artists that inspire us, and some hot topics related to NFTs, art, music, fashion, culture. Our primary focus is to have fun with new people interested in NFTs. The community around NFTs is growing fast, and we welcome all to experiment, explore, and learn with us. Welcome to our community of acceptance and celebration. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay in touch, and you can always follow us on Twitter, where we host spaces daily. All of our links are in the bio, in the description, underneath this video right here. Hit us up if you want to come on here and join us, talk about your art, talk about what inspires you and what brings you around. We're here for that every single day. My name is Moshe, DJ Fetus. This is Karthik, Karthik NFTs, all around the spaces. In today's episode, we're going to go ahead and talk about some things that we've been researching and learning about, and really dive into what NFTs mean for fans, artists, collectors, really the people of this planet. What we're seeing out there and focusing on is how artists are the people who are going to educate the mass public about NFTs. So without further ado, let's dive in. I'm going to pass the mic off to Karthik to get us started.
Hey, appreciate it, Moshe. I hope you're having a good morning. Glad to be back on NFT Art Talk. The first item we'll talk about is kind of what an NFT means to a fan. So basically, how we can look at this in real world terms first, and then I'll transition to what it means in a digital level, right? So say I like a band and I go to a concert, and I buy their t-shirt. And I'm like, yo, I like this t-shirt, and I'm just gonna hold on to it, right? So say 10 years later, I hold on to that t-shirt, and I bought it for $20, and now it's $200 because it's a collectible item, and you can't get any reprints of it, and it's an original, right? Now, with the current system we have, when we sell that good, right, it's like, well, how do I know that it's authenticated, right? Someone could just bootleg it, put the design on it, and sell it, and you wouldn't really know, like, hey, is this real, or is this like someone bootlegged it? Because there's no way to verify, like, hey, did it come from that tour? You weren't physically at that tour. So what NFTs are going to mean in that sense, right, is when a fan buys an NFT, it's really a digital receipt for that good that's on a blockchain that anybody could look up. One website's Etherscan, because primarily a lot of the marketplace right now is in Ethereum, right? So they could go look that transaction up and be like, okay, it's verified that I bought this NFT at this time and date at this price, right? So now you have a way to authenticate these new type of collectibles that are occurring in a digital world that we live in, right? So for the fan, it's like, okay, I could buy this digital good or, art piece, and I'm supporting the artist now. And I have a direct connection to that artist, and that artist is able to connect their wallet so that the money goes directly to them rather than some middleman. So you're actually helping that direct artist, as long as you go through verified channels, right?
And you can trade it, dude. And you can trade it. I wasn't even thinking about that. Like on
Right.
these ether scans and stuff, you can trade so much easier than like having to do some eBay transaction or meet someone in like a parking lot and of the Target to like grab this good you got on Craigslist, so much easier. And the artist transparency. Just wanted to add that.
Yeah, totally, man. I agree with that. And also from a second kind of aspect of looking at it for a fan, because it's all purchased in a cryptocurrency ecosystem, right? And primarily Ethereum is the big one right now that employs these smart contracts where you're able to attach like a JPEG or a movie or some kind of collectible to it. Is that over time, these cryptocurrencies have gone up in value, right? So say I buy, a t-shirt for one Ethereum, right? And I'm like, yo, I just like this t-shirt that's attached to like an NFT, right? Like that authenticates the t-shirt that says like, hey, this t-shirt actually is authenticated by this NFT I bought that says this is from the artist, right? Now I hold that for like 5 years, right? Because I just love wearing the t-shirt. And then say, hey, it becomes a collectible because there's no reprints of that NFT ever again. Not only the value of that shirt has gone up just by being a limited collectible, right? But say Ethereum goes 10x up, right? That in itself is teaching the fan like, wow, I am investing in this artist because I believe in their art, basically, right? Their art means something to me. And that in alone is going to bring more people in the space to support artists, and at the same time is teaching these people about investment, right? And investing in the causes and the people they want to be a part of, right? So that's kind of like in a nutshell what it would mean to a fan in like kind of layman's terms of why would I even buy an NFT, right? Well, you have this benefit of being authenticated, and you have this benefit of possibly it going up as cryptocurrency class and the asset class grows over time.
Yeah, and the only thing I really have to add to that is it's not just like you also have this added experience built in, and I think you nailed it right there, like I know I was talking to our buddy Mofos about how artists are starting to release NFTs that are attached to prints in the print culture, and then like if you hold the NFT for like 3 years, you get access to this release where you can trade the NFT back to the artist, and you can get this like print that also will go up in value. And obviously that's mutually beneficial to both people, but it's just that added experience. It's like, it shows it's showing the fan like my favorite artist is thinking about me and what I'm interested in, and they're providing this amazing experience to me where and this is back to this theme of like how the artists are teaching the people, where all I have to do is go learn what a MetaMask wallet is and buy some ETH off of Coinbase or wherever, and learn how to do this crypto thing. And I think as these fans start to see what these artists are doing to support fans in this space, they're going to feel at home immediately. That from our experience in music, working with massive artists, to even us being a startup local band at one point, right? This creating like what a fan club can be now is totally different than what it could be then. And just because of the accessibility, like you can jump on it. For instance, you can jump on a Discord that's being curated by your favorite artist or a group of artists with content every hour from your favorite artist, right? Like, I mean, I wish I could do that with my favorite artist right now. I wish Rage Against the Machine and System of a Down would have a Discord, and I could talk to Surge, and or at least like Bane talking to Surge, even if it's the Surge bot, whatever. But like, you know what I mean,
Right, right. And it's like direct connection to the artist, right? And from an artist perspective, I'll tell you, it means so much for any independent artist or any artist in general, but really the independent artists, right? When they see those first fans come through and you support them, it means the world to them, really. Even if you buy a piece for like, $5 or NFT for like a few cents, or even just get on their list of giveaways where they're just trying to give it away so you get into this ecosystem and understand it. Because exactly how Moshe was saying, now these artists can provide an experience to these first fans that they can now look at the blockchain and be like, oh, these were my first fans who, interacted with my stuff, and provide these new experiences, whether it be in a metaverse. And, if you had this NFT or a first supporter, you're able to come to this space and it's for those first fans, or even in a real world scenario, right? Like if they're putting on a concert and you're able to verify when I go to that show, like, yo, I actually own this NFT and it's part of like what I supported at the beginning. You could be brought into this whole new artist experience that, fans rarely ever get to see, but the artists will want to do that because those fans were there from the very beginning, right? And that means so much to the artist. And also the fact that like when you're trading these NFTs, these artists get these royalties in perpetuity off each transaction that in the current system we have right now, record labels, promoters, management, they've taken advantage of all these things of being middlemen and just saying, hey, I have relationships. Well, we live in a digital world right now. We can make relationships with anybody, anytime on the internet. You don't have to necessarily be like, I know this person physically. I mean, the metaverse and the whole cryptocurrency environment has proven that, right? So it's just fascinating, and it means so much for the artists if these fans and these people get involved and they encourage these arts. And that's kind of coming from an artist perspective, what it means and how you tie it back to the fan.
Yeah, and it is interesting, like what you're talking about, because what is intriguing to the fan is also kind of exciting to the artist, especially in this space. So for the fan, you get this secondary, this new way to interact, whether that's in this physical, Web 2 version of like what we're talking about, the, Twitter Spaces, Facebook groups, stuff like that, the normal stuff, or even looking into this Web 3 place where you're going to be able to go kick it with your artists in the metaverse. Your favorite fans and artists are going to come in. NFTs are going to be involved in that, I'm sure, with the layers, just like they are like going to a club and my VIP. How do I get in the VIP room? And for artists, like Karthik was just talking about, one, it's this. I'm kind of punning. This is a little pun here, but it's like a new sandbox. You know what I mean? Like, we can literally go into Sandbox, create our own jam room, invite people into our jam room like we used to do in Austin. Like when we were first starting as a band and we would just have all of our homies come kick it at the jam spot. We're jamming, blazing, doing whatever, right? And like everybody's there together. And now we're going to be able to do that with people all over the world in the metaverse and invite them in and use our NFTs as part of that. Not just like what you see inside of our place in the metaverse, but also like how to support it, really, like you said. And the most beneficial thing, I just want to resonate again what Karthik said, is that while all that's happening, the artists do have the opportunity in this new space to be at the center of that, to gain their royalties in perpetuity, to have tracking of every transaction, and have that clarity that artists just have not been able to have for ages. Possibly ever. And I think that's why, Karthik and I have been talking about this a lot. And I'm going to share some screen here, guys, so bear with me on a technical change. And also shout out to brag.com, twitter.com/brag.com. They're an awesome website that's about to launch. NFT artists can go to their site now and sign up if they want to brag about their NFTs to this space. He came into one of our spaces and really started enlightening us on how artists are getting into this whole technology NFT space. And of course, we talked about the biggest artists because why not? So we started talking about Yeezy. He started Yeezy Tech to help building all these random devices, including this stem player. For those of you guys that don't know, a stem is basically one little track that goes into like hundreds of tracks that make up your favorite song. So let's say I play piano on a track, and then somebody else comes in and plays drums, somebody else comes in and does something else. Each one of those instruments is a different stem. And so what he did is he says, I can use technology to teach my fans that, hey, what I'm doing, honestly, this is what I'm doing. That's the way I felt about this device that he built, where you can slide up and down and hit the middle thing, and it plays all these different parts of Donda, and you can remix it, and you can plug stuff in and input your own songs into it. And really, it just felt like, this is what the artists are starting to realize, right? Like, we can share the technology with everyone in a way that they can experience it. And we can go further into this experience than be in my VIP club, be a part of my membership, let me send you a t-shirt. Like, it goes much deeper than that. Even in Karthik's example, the t-shirt could have an NFT connected to it that makes that t-shirt raise in value like no shirt has ever done before. But this one was really interesting to me because it's literally taking the physical world. It just feels so NFT to me. Like, I was in a space yesterday where everyone was just sharing the programs that they use to make the NFTs that they create. Even really well-known NFT artists that have massive collections with above 1 ETH floor, still saying, oh yeah, I go in here and this is what I do. And if you want to use this free program, I found this free program. And this is, to me, this is the artist seeing that environment and being like, oh, I'm going to bring this into the physical world and I can do it. I don't know how accessible this is. I didn't try to buy one myself. But I do think it's an interesting application of what we're seeing with technology and music right now. And I know Karthik was talking to me a lot about Snoop Dogg, so we pulled up this article. I'm going to pass the mic over to you, bud, to talk about this a little more.
Yeah, so Snoop Dogg, he's buying Death Row Records, and he's trying to make it the first NFT music label, right? And it's so interesting because when he started his career out, he was very young, and he's part of Death Row. And if you look at the history of Death Row Records, so some of these artists didn't really get paid too much money. I know they kind of talk about it in, I think there's a Dr. Dre movie with that talks about NWA and such, but it's so fascinating. Like from a time where they weren't getting that much money, right? And then Snoop Dogg, he transitioned his career, and I believe he started making more money when he started working with Master P, actually, No Limit Records. And he taught him like, hey, this is how you own your own stuff. So now, after him being in the game so long, he's coming back and he's buying. He's buying Death Row Records, the record label that once didn't get that many royalties from, and he's owning it, and he's turning it into NFT because himself, he's made crazy amounts of sales on NFTs. He's big in that space, and he's almost becoming like, I want to say he's like an NFT crypto whale almost in that whole space, right? Which what that means is just he's a huge player. He's a mega player. He has crypto money in it, and he has a huge fan base that wants to transact in that, right? And it's just so fascinating because that's showing you how the paradigm is turning, right? From once being the artist that felt like, I don't know how distribution works, I don't know how publishing works, now being the artist of like, wow, this is how we could do a new way of distribution. This is how could do a new way of publishing, right? And it's just so fascinating because these are the first examples. This is where we're coming to, right? These are first examples of these artists now taking power back and being like, well, I'm going to own the catalog of my own music, and then teach others to be like, hey, in this crypto NFT space, you could own your own music in perpetuity, and we could have the accounting transparent so that we could all make money correctly, right? And it's Kanye's one example where I own the music, so I'm going to release it through a stem player, through technology, get people involved in it, remix a song, possibly even remix a song and you make it an NFT, right? Like these are the beginning parts of that. Snoop Dogg buying land in the metaverse, right? And releasing things in that metaverse and selling them. It's the beginning phases of these big artists. Stevie Aoki's another one as well. He said that he made more in 1 year off NFTs than he did 10 years, I think, of doing music, right? So that it's kind of crazy when you hear those stories. You're like, wow, it's getting adopted by these bigger artists, and these independent artists are growing into it, right? So it's just something that's occurring right now. And if you're a real fan of the arts and the music, this is something you want to be a part of and see as it evolves. And honestly, it's just so cool. Like how Moshe said, say you bought a t-shirt that thing was $20, and say like 5 years later, because that artist has become so big in the metaverse and crypto realm that it's worth $20,000. I think that's just the coolest thing. Like you just got paid for supporting the art you love, really, and you didn't even think about it like that. You just loved what the art represented to you, and that feeling and that emotion, and that's all it should be, really. But it's just cool that this new layer is added onto it, so that you could live your life and experience your life like that. Live your life experience around all art. But yeah, I'll let Moshe take it back if you kind of want to talk. What does NFTs mean to the people of this planet?
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I got to say, too, like, I want a $20,000 t-shirt, dude. That's what I want. I want to buy. I'm going to find some, honestly, some of these artists that we meet, I am blown away. Not just like not just by the artwork they're doing, but just by like the grit and the hustle, dude. You know what I mean? Like, this is way beyond like just going around the city putting up slaps all over every single like bar that we can find and like passing out a shitload of flyers. Like this is I mean, and that's what it honestly, I'll transition that into the people of the planet. That's what this means. This is not like the place of your mom's favorite fan club. You know what I mean? Like this is much bigger than that. And that's what I think we're talking about here today. Like, what we're experiencing is a new era of creation, and it's already being adapted by the masses, and they're embracing it. And I love that it's the artists like Kanye and Snoop and Steve Aoki and people that basically have come out and said, also, we're going to put on independent people, and because that's what we're seeing here, and we're going to use our platform to tell artists like what's really going down, and that's what I think is really cool about those guys leading the way. And like you were saying, because it does inspire us. It's like, damn, if Snoop's gonna do that to Death Row, I'm gonna put some music on Autolus and see what happens.
Yeah, it's expanded the whole territory for a lot of artists. And going back to the whole thing, when these artists have been taken advantage of back in the day, and that's the same old story we've heard for a long time. Now the power is coming back. It's like when an artist gets taken advantage. I know we've been in many situations where like, man, they didn't play out right, right. But now we feel more empowered as we get older. It's like we don't want to do that to any young artists. They don't need to, they don't need to be taken advantage of. They need to be taught like a new way that they could take control of their career. And that's what's so cool, because when you have these big names embracing this, it starts the movement, right? It started with like people buying artwork like Metacoven buying that Beeple crap, which it was a big gallery of 5,000 pieces this person made, and someone spent I think around $60 million on it, right? That was the beginning of people. What is this? What does this mean, right? But now that's happened probably a year ago, and now you see, wow, these big mainstream artists we know are kind of starting to embrace it and seeing how to evolve it in their whole universe.
And they're understanding that it can't be all about making money like it has been in the past, because, and this is something that, we've learned as artists in the space, you're not, like, right now, until this mass adoption happens and all your old fans are in here thinking old ways, right? Which may never happen, let's just be real. But regardless, if however that is plays out, until then, you got to understand as an artist, you're in a place where your fans have to learn new ways to support your art, but you have to learn new ways to approach this. Like, you got to know you're dealing with people that are, Karthik says it best, right? They got 20 wallets. They like to be anonymous. It's not about it's about moving things around, and it's about understanding what's valuable in this space and why it's valuable. And once you go into that path, I think you find that it's not just how many transactions you have in your special giveaways, right? And what you're doing, if you have a DAO set up, and do you have like all these like business related things. What's your story? What inspires you? Who are you doing this for? What am I becoming a part of when I invest into your art? Because everybody knows that's what we're doing, and it's not all established artists in this space that are ruling this space, right? I'm in a couple of collectives discords where these guys are getting together. I'd never heard of them before in my life, and they are having 2,000 pieces with a 1 ETH floor, multiple galleries. Like, these guys are ready and going, and as an artist, you got to come in there ready to learn, and ready to experiment and figure out who these people are, because it is different than what we're used to.
And I'll even add on to that is, like, as an artist, you would want to learn this, right? Because technology is normally adopted by the youth, right? Younger people, they're just quicker. They know what's hip, what's going down, right? So as an artist, you want to connect with these younger people. And I know these younger people are looking at this because, they've played video games, they've been online, majority of their life, they've been in front of screens and stuff like that. So it's like, if I get into the space, now you're connecting with the youth, right? That as they grow and maybe as they adopt more of this cryptocurrency classes to support artists, right? You're just going to grow with them. And if you get into that right now, you're just going to be at a better spot years later, because you're going to grow with this whole generation that understands, like, wow, you adopted the technology when I was adopting, and they feel a part of your movement because of that. So that's why I feel it's so important for at least artists to engage in it, and also fans are going to engage in it regardless, because like I said, youth is always going to learn what the coolest and newest technology is and actually do it.
Right, and they're going to want, and everyone, not just the youth, but everyone's going to want this added bonus of what these NFT utilities bring, and everyone is going to want the transparency, right? It's not just the artists that want to see, oh, where did this piece go? It's also the fan, like we're talking about, like even us as fans. Look at the shirt that you have on right now. Like, imagine if that came with like the Rock NFT, right? And like the Rock's been blowing up, dude, and any collection he had would be massive. You know what I mean? And he could do that, and all the bootleg merch that the Rock has out there, he could have the fans minting that for him, right? And right. He could be getting his 5% or whatever he wants off every shirt sale. And the fan would probably be happy to do it. They'd be like, I get to participate in the Rock's community. You know what I mean? And everyone, and I've spoken to a few people about that, like, oh, the scale, The Rock has 20 million fans. I'm like, dude, how many people out there? We talked to somebody in a room, Sam Social. We'll get his link down in the description too. He told us he has probably 10,000, 10K NFT collections, right? Make a million NFTs, dude. You know what I mean? Like, go do it and make it. You know what? I hope The Rock watches this somehow in the world, because, like, dude, build your own NFT marketplace, get those things going. Your fans will learn how to do it. You know, I mean, I just think it's the coolest way to invest in the artist. You know, in your favorite artist. Like, I'm just gonna keep on preaching right now, but, like, stop buying record label stock. You know, and stop buying into, like, when you stream. I mean, the oldest message in the world, right? When you stream on Spotify, the artist is going to get paid, you know? I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm just saying, like, this is different, you know? Like, because these NFTs are $20 sometimes, you know? And you don't even know what you're doing for that artist and their potential, you know, just by helping them sell that one thing. Not to mention, like we said earlier, you're buying $20 of ETH. Like, right. You know, I hope I'm not an investor or financial advisor at all, right. You know, but I hope that's a good investment. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think it just goes back to, like, you're just supporting the artist, right? Because if I love the artist, just as, like, you go to a tour or whatever, I'm gonna buy the t-shirt, you know, I want something from that experience that I hold on to, right? It just interesting because you had this whole computer type of culture create this whole new ecosystem that I'm so fascinated by, because we were focused on the art the majority of our life, right? And I told Moshe, I was like, you know what's crazy, man? It's like, it's crazy that some people in this world built a system that could help out artists, and we didn't have to actually go there and be like, this is how you need to design it, this is how you need to do it. It kind of occurred, and then now it's here. And I was like, that's so cool, because it teaches you there are people in this world that want to help.
Yeah, and
they want to help the artists.
And I know we talked about this a little bit in episode 1, so feel free to go back and listen to that one if you want to. But, you know, like Karthik's saying, like, this thing came up and it definitely popped up, and it was not an accident, you know, like, because, like Karthik was just saying, like, this place was built intentionally because artists have a ton of content. Fans want more than just, like, to walk into a show or buy a t-shirt or get a CD. It's more than that now, and even it's more than, like, I follow them on Instagram. Like, I want more than that. Like, I've had that for 10, 20 years now, you know? So it's like the fans want more, and this is where it's come, you know, in the NFT space. And it's a conglomeration of artists, fans, programmers, communities, gaming folks, just the whole thing. And so go buy an NFT. I think that's the message from this episode. Like, go find an artist that you like and buy one of their NFTs and see what it feels like. Like, we'll be part of this community too of artists that's, like, encouraging people to learn about cryptocurrency, learn about NFTs. We both have galleries on OpenSea. You can find the link again in the description below. Check them out. Karthik's releasing them every day. I have a new collection coming out in March. It has our unique music on it. It has unique visuals that we both built ourselves. You can support us. You can support the artists that are linked below too. Support anyone. Just go out and get an NFT. That's kind of my closing message.
And just to add on that, if you're like, how do I find that, right? Best thing I would do, go into Twitter if you have a Twitter account, search, you know, pound NFT, right? And you could see people just posting their artwork, and just go look at it, you know, enjoy it, listen to some music. In spaces they have people pitching. But if you want to have, like, this new experience of, like, connecting and discovering new artists, right? I would say that's the best kind of, like, way to at least get your feet wet in finding these new artists and just putting yourself in an art realm, really.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today, y'all. We're going to keep it nice and short for our first couple episodes. If you guys like it, please like, subscribe, get the notifications, leave us comments if you want to hear us talk about things or research something. If you want to come on and chat with us, hit us up on Twitter or find us in a space. We're excited to be out here doing this. We'll see you guys tomorrow.